Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission. It's being held at the Commissioners' Meeting Room in Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Room 250, Cortez, Colorado. We're going to open with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we have roll call down?
Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Saunders.
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay, absent is alternate Commissioner Mike Doyle. Also present is Don Haley and Jane Duncan of the County Planning Department. Please silence your cell phones during the meeting. If you need to take an important call, you can go out to the foyer out there. Has the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the June minutes?
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Anybody?
Mr. Chair, I move that we vote to approve the Planning and Zoning minutes for June 12th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call for vote.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders.
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Abstain.
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Was that an aye or abstain?
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay, no further discussion. Motion carried was 3-1. Okay, moving on. The Montezuma County Planning Commission welcomes you to this meeting. This board is comprised of members who are tasked to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. We are not the decision makers. We encourage public comment after each permit. Persons speaking during the public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced at the discretion of the Planning Commission to allow all members of the public the opportunity to address their thoughts and concerns. When addressing the commission, please come to the podium, turn on the mic, and state your name and address for the record before providing your comments. Comments to individual applicants are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. I will be voting tonight. Roll call.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Saunders.
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay. Number 1. Notice is hereby given. The Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed subdivision amendment rezoning applications to Lot 1 and 2 of the Phelps Farms Subdivision submitted by Fred Phelps on properties located at 24351 and to be determined Road T, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 6.40 and 3.99 acres more or less, located north of Road T, west of Road 25, situated in Section 15, Township 37 North, Range 16 west of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was a public notice published?
Yes, sir.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir.
Was a sign posted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we could have the applicant come on down. Right there, yeah. No, the table there, I'm
You
sorry.
can go ahead and have a
Yeah.
seat.
And just hit that mic so when you speak, we can hear it. Okay, Planning Department findings.
The applicant is proposing to move this boundary line between the two parcels. He owns both parcels, making the 6.4 acre parcel the smaller parcel, and then the smaller parcel the larger parcel. So he basically is switching the acreage around. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses. There are several subdivision lots in the immediate area. His access is directly off of Road T. There's already driveway access there due to his residence is on the bigger piece. All the utilities, infrastructure is in place, and that's basically it. Oh, and MVIC did state that there is a 30-foot easement. It's 15 feet on either side of the ditch there in the southeast corner of the property, and they would like to make sure that that maintains, and it's on the plat.
Okay. You have anything to add to that?
Yes.
There's, go ahead. There we go, okay.
Yeah, the only thing I want to, I don't know if the acreage will be exact, like, you know, completely swapping the 6.4 for the 3.99, because I want to utilize an existing driveway that's already there on the,
Okay.
but I can probably have it, you know, put angular to do that. I just want to be sure. I know the limitation is 3 acres for subdivision, right, for the parcels?
For parcel 3
Yeah,
acres,
so
right?
if I stay above that, I think it might be closer to like 3 acres versus and 7 acres, but I haven't had it surveyed yet because, you know, it wasn't okayed and I didn't want to spend the $2,000 to
For
get it
survey,
surveyed
yeah.
yet.
Makes sense.
But I'm just,
Yeah, as long as you understand, yeah, there's a minimum of 3 acres, sure.
yes, sir.
Okay, whether it's 3, 3.5, 4, whatever.
Yeah.
Minimum 3, okay.
Yes.
Okay, questions, commissioners?
None.
No questions to the applicant.
To the applicant. Okay, I have questions. So we have an existing 6.40 and an existing 3.99. And we're going to be using the access road from Road T across now the new lot, which is going to be 4.3, to get to the new lot 6.2.
I don't, if you can see where that, the 24,393, there used to be an old trailer house there, I've since tore down. There's an existing driveway right there, off the road.
Okay, so that's going to be the driveway.
That's going to be the driveway. I'll leave the one that's going
Okay.
to the old house there the same. That's, you know, with the 3 acres, whatever it
Okay.
ends up being, but.
Okay, so we're going to need an easement then from Road T through the now 4.3 to the 6.2.
Well, there's already,
Well, there has to be a dedicated easement, I mean, a written easement.
okay,
Yeah.
so even though the driveway's there, the easement's there, it's been used for years, you'll have to get a new easement. Is that what you're saying? Because my mother used to live in that trailer and it was used
Goes to here. and
for
goes to
years,
here.
and in fact, I still use it when I'm irrigating.
No, I guess there wouldn't have to be a new easement. If there's an existing easement, then.
Yeah, because that's that 24,393
No,
is the,
unless the easement stops at the 3.99, which it probably does. If it's a written easement, it's going to go through the 640 over to the 399. And now you're bringing it back to the west
Yeah, even though I'm not moving. The only thing I'm moving is the property line.
Yeah, no, there shouldn't have to be a new easement then.
No, because he
No.
can always get
Yeah,
a new
it-
driveway
it-
permit to
it-
access
it's coming,
Road T.
It's coming, yeah, it's still encompassing the same property.
Yeah, if one wouldn't be issued, then there may have to be an easement there, but.
Right, right. So there's gonna be a new house then on the new,
Eventually, the long-term plan is my son wants to move back down this area in 4 or 5 years from Montrose.
okay,
That's down the road, but, you know, and I'm gonna basically sell him the 6-acre portion of it, keep the old house part of it. That's where I grew up, so it's gonna,
okay, and he would,
Family.
the water company said they had,
Pardon?
the water company said they have water service
Yes,
available for that, okay?
Yes.
Even if it's 5 years down the road,
yes.
okay. All right, that's all I had. Okay, then we're gonna open this up for
Mr.
public
Chair.
comment.
Mr.
Anyone
Chair.
wishing- I'm sorry, oh, I'm sorry.
We're not done with discussion
That's right.
yet, anyway. So I do have a point I want to make, and I asked Mr. Haley about it, and I still have a different understanding, and maybe Don can clarify when I'm done, but in 9103.5, change or expansion of use, it says major changes to an approved permit shall require the landowner to conform to the previous provisions of Chapter 2. Major changes shall include, but are not limited to, changes in use exceeding a measurable 10% of the permitted or historic use, and change of use, layout, any condition of approval, any change resulting in increased off-site impacts, and any similar changes, and it has more language there, but this is the part that I'm concentrating on. So I'm of the belief that changing the acreage from 6 point something to 4 point something is more than a 10% change in the acreage, which in my understanding is a change of use and would fall under this provision. And in the 9103.4 for exemptions, the Board of County Commissioners may grant exemptions as provided by the revised statutes, and it has to do with this, just this part. So what I am contending, and I'll either be found to be true or not, is that because of this 10%, this change in use, it doesn't go before the Planning and Zoning Commission. It automatically goes straight to the BOCC, and they make the decision, and they have to make an exemption in order to make that decision. So my contention is this doesn't even get voted on by the Planning and Zoning. And that's all I have.
How does it change the,
Well, so Chapter 2 is for high-impact permits, so it doesn't apply anything here, and that's where the 10% is noted. This is a subdivision, and it's being amended, so under statute, it goes through the 2 public hearing process to amend the subdivision, same as it was created. I know in the application, item 7 is in there, but it's in there for like 6 different items. It just makes a statement that the commissioners may grant exemptions.
okay,
This application gets used for several items. This one is noted, boxes checked for a 2-lot moderate subdivision common lot line change. So that's the process we're running it through.
so because we're not looking at a high-impact permit, strictly basically a boundary adjustment is all it is.
Right, but because
But
it's a
within the
subdivision, we have to
In
go
the
through the process.
subdivision, right. That makes sense, Commissioner Lynch?
I understand perfectly what he's saying. I just,
Okay.
and I have nothing against what you're trying to do. I'm all for
I'm
it.
sitting here confused, so don't.
Okay, then, we're gonna go back to open this up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. Okay, seeing none, we'll close it and bring it back to the commissioners for a recommendation.
I will make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed subdivision amendment rezoning application to lots 1 and 2 of the Phelps Farms Subdivision submitted by Fred Phelps based on the following. Proposed use is in conformity with the code. Proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning, and I have no conditions.
Okay, the only condition I would put is that the new property owner, whether it's your son or someone else, he be made aware of the land use code. So he'll know that there's setbacks and so forth. Okay, that's it. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion, we'll call for a vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye?
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
I abstain.
Okay, the motion carried, it was 3-1. Thank you, good luck.
Thank you. Mr. Haley is secretary. Once I get it surveyed, I guess then we'll just go directly to the.
No, we'll be in contact because you'll have to go to the county commissioners meeting with the same process. Fair enough. Right? You're welcome.
Okay, can we have roll call?
Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
Commissioner Saunders.
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay, number 2. Notice is hereby given, the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed 3-lot minor subdivision and AR 10-34 rezoning application submitted by Ruddy and Jackie Archuleta on property located at 9,000 Road 45.6, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 40.02 acres, more or less, located west of Highway 160, situated in Section 31, Township 36 North, Range 12 west of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And was a sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Okay, we have the applicants come on down. Can we have the planning department findings, Jane?
Sure. The applicants propose to create a 3-lot minor subdivision consisting of one 8.3 acre parcel, one 13.34 acre parcel, and one 18.34 acre parcel. The lots will be accessed by a 60-foot easement. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses, along with lands owned by the U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and the state of Colorado in the immediate area. The property is currently accessed off of a red-signed, non-county maintained road, and the driveway permit will not be required by the county road department. As I stated, the lots will be accessed by a 60-foot easement, and CDOT does not have any problems with this subdivision being created. No permit will be required for them.
Okay.
They stated that this will not generate enough activity to warrant a permit. There is no water company has pipelines in this area, and the properties are serviced by cisterns. They have electricity for the other houses. The Wildfire Adaptive Partnership recommends a wildfire mitigation plan, even though The parcel is in low to moderate risk area, but has dense forest fuels and gamble oak around it. The property is surrounded by BLM on 3 sides, and the applicants, I believe, have already been in contact with WAP about that.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
Okay. Anything to add to that?
Sorry?
Anything to add to that?
No.
She does a good job.
She does.
Okay, commissioners, questions, comments?
Yes.
You two
Yeah,
say-
I have a question for Dawn, I think. Dawn, on the proposed development information, it says the current zoning is AR 35 plus. The requested zoning is AR 10 to 34. Shouldn't that also be, include AR 3 through 9 for the smaller piece, so that there's 2 zoning changes, 2 zoning,
That is correct. The smaller one would take 3 through 9.
yeah.
Can you explain what you just said, what that means? Does it pertain to something we need to know?
So the zoning designations, AR 10 to 34 means 10 acres to 34 acres. And you have one of the 3 parcels that you're breaking it into is only 8.3 acres. So it doesn't fall into the 10 to 34. So it needs to go to the next zoning designation below that, which is AR 3 through 9.
Oh, okay, so it's just
Yeah, technicality.
technical.
Okay, anything else? Anybody? Okay, I have some. Don, is this a compliance issue because we have 4 lots, 4 residents on a single lot?
Currently, there's only 2
Only
residences.
2 residents then?
Uh-huh.
Okay. That's correct?
correct.
2 residents, okay. Okay. There's only 2, not 3.
The 2 little orange are just storage buildings or sheds or,
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, and the water issue is not gonna be a problem with the commissioners? You know how they are with, especially in Mancos? That was the question, Don, to you. That was the question to you. Is there gonna be a problem with the water issue with the commissioners? And that was, the previous attorney seemed to be really big on not having water. If water was not available, then the commissioner should not be subdividing properties.
But it
Right.
says it service cisterns.
so if they're on cisterns,
It's haul water, right,
then the whole subdivision is on cisterns. The
okay.
issue is if there's a water line there and it's questionable if it's available later, then you'd need to buy the taps now. But if it's already fed by cisterns, then the subdivision will just be run by cisterns.
Okay, okay,
And I would like to state, Celeste, I believe is her name, with the fire mitigation. She's coming out tomorrow at 1 to do an assessment,
okay, great,
and then we can go forward from there.
okay. If we have nothing else, we're gonna open it up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, please come to the podium. Okay, seeing none, we'll close it, close the public comment, bring it back to the commissioners.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve of a proposed 3-lot minor subdivision, AR 10 to 34, and AR 3 to 9. Rezoning application submitted by Ruddy and Jackie Archuleta based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are not available to support the uses consistent with the proposed zoning.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Condition would be, if the properties are for sale, that the new owners be notified of the Montezuma County Land Use Code, so that, again, everybody's on the same page, okay? Saunders. Okay, no further discussion. We'll call for a vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. It was unanimous. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch, Jackie.
Okay, takes care of that one. Roll call, Don.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Number 3. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed subdivision amendment application to Lot 2 of Pickens 2-lot moderate subdivision, amended, submitted by Suzanne Herman and Neil and Terry Jones, agent Neil Jones, on properties located at 13654 and 13526 Road 23, Dolores, consisting of 15.12 acres and 43.42 acres, more or less, located south of Road P, east of Highway 491, both situated in Section 4, Township 36 North, Range 16 west of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. Okay, this is a public hearing. Was a public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Evidence to letters of adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And a sign was posted.
Yes, sir?
Okay, can we have the applicant come on down? Okay, Jane, Planning Department findings, please.
Sure. Both sets of property owners are in agreement to adjust the boundary line for future access to the Jones property and to get in compliance with the 30-foot setback of a dwelling from the Jones property line. The dwelling was in compliance until the roof was extended to the existing dwelling. Original setback was 35 feet. The roof extension caused it to be at 27 feet, resulting in a 3-foot shortage. The Herman property is in the Pickens 2-lot moderate subdivision and is subject to the permitting process to amend the subdivision for the boundary line adjustment. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses, and there are several subdivision lots in the immediate area. Both properties are accessed from Road 23. There is a dedicated 60-foot easement for the Herman property, lot number 2 of the Pickens 2-lot moderate subdivision amended, that runs along the north property line to lot number 1A. The access for the Jones property is part of the Jones property, so that easement is their own property. All the utilities and infrastructure is in due to being residential properties on both pieces. And that's basically it.
Okay.
Oh, and again, MVIC states that there is a 30-foot easement, 15 feet on both sides along the west property line of the Jones property, which is the blue and white line on the map.
May pipeline,
And
okay.
they would recommend that that also be maintained and placed on the plat.
Okay. We can make that a condition. Okay, you have anything to add to that?
I'm sorry?
Anything to add to that?
No.
Okay. All right, then we're going to bring it to the commissioners' questions.
No question, but I do want to commend the landowners for being able to come to a friendly agreement to move the boundary line in order to accommodate the setback in the
Yeah.
land use code. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Hermans have been very good about that, so. And Don is the one that actually found it, so when I came in for the easement, or the deeded right-of-way, Don suggested I go measure, so I did, and we were out of compliance, so.
All right.
Okay, other commissioners' questions? Okay, I have, let's see. So, oh, I lost it.
It's gone.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so the structure that's out of compliance is is on the corner, just above where the arrow, oh, there's the structure. I see, it's up there, yeah. So I can bring it that way.
Just
Okay.
up above where the
Okay.
dwelling is.
Okay, I see it.
And we had not planned to go that far with the right-of-way, but Mr. and Mrs. Hermans wanted the fence line straightened out, so they decided to go ahead and let us go all the way and straighten that fence line out, so.
Okay. Okay, now, the other question I have, there's a little white object inside that little triangle. Can you zoom in on that, Don, at all? Right where the point of the arrow's at. Is that anything to be concerned of? Because now it's gonna be on the other property, right? No, it's gonna stay on your property.
It's a trailer.
Because that
That,
that currently is on Herman property, right? And now it's gonna be on your property. Nope.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Bring
understand.
back the dashed line,
Want
Don.
to know what that, the
Yeah.
one thing with, that trailer
Yeah.
that's there with tin and stuff on it?
Well, that's something to do with Mr. Hermans and Mr. Pickens.
It's
It
nothing,
has
we-
nothing to do, it's got tin and some stuff left over from Pickens.
okay, it's
but-
nothing that's permanent or anything like that, okay?
No, it can be moved out of the way.
Okay.
It's a trailer,
Okay,
flatbed trailer with tin and stuff on it. It
All right.
has nothing to do with what we're doing, so,
okay, I just saw that and I thought
yeah.
I want to bring it to somebody's attention.
No problem.
Okay, no further questions. We're going to open it up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application? Okay, seeing none, we'll close it and bring it back to the commissioners.
I can make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed subdivision amendment application to Lot 2 of the Pickens 2 Lot Moderate Subdivision amended, submitted by Suzanne Herman and Neil and Terry Jones, agent Neil Jones, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. And I have no conditions.
Okay, I believe one of the conditions is going to be that the pipeline be shown on the, on your plat.
Yeah, that's away from the,
Yeah, yeah.
that, that's all on my property.
Okay.
Or our property, so.
Okay, then we looking for a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carried. It was unanimous. Thank you. Good luck. Oh,
I have a comment
Yes,
I'd
sir.
like to make, if it's possible. Do I need to move over there, or can I stay here?
go ahead.
And sending these letters out, we sent 14 letters out, cost us $90 to all the surrounding landowners that had nothing to do with this. And so my question is there some kind of criteria or an amendment or something that could be put in here for the future? Somebody else going to run into this, probably already has, maybe they've asked the same question. But to me, it was ridiculous to send that many letters out when those people had nothing to do with what we were doing. Just because they bordered us all the way around, and their setbacks where their houses are and everything is way out there. So to me, it was just, took a lot of our time, your time to look at it, Dawn and Jeannie's time to look at this, and now yours. And there was no reason to send 14 letters out.
I'll let Don answer that, but I'm sure, I understand your
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's what the land use code and statute requires for public notice. At least our version of the land use code is that all adjoining neighbors, if the Herman property was not in a subdivision, it wouldn't even be a public hearing. It would just be a boundary line adjustment. But once you're in a subdivision, you're under those rules for life.
And it's
I know
state
we
statute.
talked about this before, but I didn't know if there was something that can be done to the land use code to keep this from happening from someone else.
Unfortunately, it
statute.
follows state statute, and
Yep.
It's a state statute? Okay. Need to amend that.
good luck there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll be in touch with you, Terry.
Okay, now can we have roll call?
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay, number 4. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed 2-lot moderate subdivision application submitted by Dolores State Bank agent Brian McLaughlin on property located at 27880 Highway 160, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 9.14 acres, more or less, located south of 160, situated in Section 30, Township 36 North, Range 15 West of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was a public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And was a sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Okay, we have the applicant. Come on down.
Agent Orange.
Oh, yeah, now you are. Okay, Planning Department findings, Jane.
The applicant is proposing to divide their property into one 3.2 acre parcel and one 5.94 acre parcel. The larger parcel will then be sold to Tractor Supply Company. The property is currently zoned commercial and is not seeking any change. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses, along with commercial and industrial uses. The property is accessed directly off of Highway 160. We did hear back from CDOT, and they said it is their recommendation to move the existing access to align with the property, the nursery property, across the highway, or move the access to the west as much as possible, and have an easement to allow both parcels access. The landowner can make the decision. CDOT would accept either condition. However, excuse me. However, this will require an access permit and a level 2 traffic assessment. And they also said they could contact Kenny Gallegos at CDOT. Actually, after the planning department has done research, it should be noted that the Dolores State Bank access was approved and permitted in 2007. The access opposite on the north side of the highway was approved and permitted in 2008 with no objections noted from CDOT. And also the opposite access is not owned by Cliff Rose Nursery. It is owned by L&L Mini Storage LLC. All the infrastructure is already in for the property with the bank there, and that's basically it.
Okay. Okay, anything to add to that?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, bring it to the commissioners. Questions?
So the city of Cortez is marked for municipal review. Was anything received from them?
No, it was not.
That's it? Jason? Questions?
No, my questions initially were about the CDOT access.
Okay, yeah. So the new property, obviously within will be zoned commercial. Duh, right?
Correct.
Because we're just
We're not
splitting
changing
one.
zoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the bank, so as stated with CDOT, they'd rather see the entrances aligned, though they permitted both of them separately before. And they're leaving it to the property owner to
Yes, sir.
choose to move or not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if the bank remains the same, which I'm sure it's pretty elaborate entrance, if it's going to.
No, they're giving, the way I understand the CDOT deal, is they're giving the bank two choices
Right.
besides what it exists.
Right.
Like,
But-
so they want them to move the driveway.
Okay. If they do move it, then both properties are going to utilize that entrance, so there would need to be an easement for the new property.
Correct.
Right, okay, we understand that. And if they leave it the same, then,
Then they're not gonna get permitted through CDOT.
CDOT does not want to leave it there. It's moving one way or another.
Yeah.
didn't you say, Jane, that they gave them a choice?
They give them
gave
two
the choice of
choices,
To move it or to leave
two
it?
alternates besides what exists.
Yeah.
They can move it to two different areas, but it can't stay the same.
Oh, okay, okay.
I have emailed them
misunderstood.
for clarification because they permitted both of them.
Okay, I misunderstood. Okay, so
No,
then
I'm
if,
sorry if I didn't make it clear. They gave them two choices,
okay,
either to the west or align it
with the other
one
one,
on the
okay,
north.
okay. So in other words, there would be two separate driveways if they go to the west. One for the new property, the other, oops, sorry.
No, there would be a dedicated easement for the other property.
This driveway entrance is proposed to be closed.
That's gonna be replaced. Okay. So they would move it over to the east, or
This one would be over
the west.
here.
to the west.
Yeah.
If they move it to the east, it'd go into their building.
That's what you call a drive-through, right?
Well, I thought, I thought they were proposing to align it with the one across the
I
highway.
drew an orange line on this sheet of paper. If you guys want to look at it.
Which would be the center of the easement, or where they would have to move the driveway. And the alternate is
Yeah.
just all the way to the west line of the property. Sorry.
Okay.
And I'm sorry that I did not show that. I just had to get that together on my way here, so.
Okay, so that is gonna be one proposal. There it is. Yeah, we got it. Okay, so that's option one.
That's option one.
Where's option two?
The far west side of the
All the-
property along the fence.
Okay, way over there, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now it's clear. But that's gonna be one driveway for both parcels.
That's correct.
Okay, so either or, there's gonna be an easement for,
Either there'll be an
Either the
easement
east
to
or
the
the
bank,
west.
or the bank will give easement to the Tractor Supply.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Or maybe reconfigure the lot to where there's, the bank does not want to share easement, and they want the easement, or they want all the access to be on Tractor Supply, because they're burdened with more liability from people driving.
Right, that
So
would make sense.
they would prefer to not have traffic on the bank property. So it'd probably be easement to the bank through the Tractor Supply property.
And the bank's okay with an easement?
That's the way they would prefer it,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So more than
Just-
likely that we'll stay with the orange line with an easement going to the new property. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and CDOT didn't have any other problems with left-hand turns?
No.
Come in, Vincent. Okay,
Didn't mention anything.
cool. Okay. Anything else, commissioners? Okay, we're gonna open this up for public comment. Anyone wishing speaking for or against, come to the podium, please. And seeing none, we'll close it and bring it back to the commissioners for discussion or a motion.
I can make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed two-lot moderate subdivision application submitted by Dolores State Bank, Agent Brian McLaughlin, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning, and I don't have any conditions.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried, was unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you, Brian. I said I'll be in touch with you.
Oh, sure, thank you.
That's interesting.
I know.
That's interesting. Okay, let the fun begin. Okay, roll call now.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay, number 5. Notice is hereby given. The Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed general plan unit development application, high impact special use permit application submitted by Lewis Ranches LLC, Agent Rimrock Outfitters Glamping LLC, on property located at 12885 Road 44, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 15 acres more or less, located east of Road 42, north of Highway 160, situated in Section 7, Township 36 North, Range 12 West of the New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was a public notice published?
Yes, sir.
Were evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir.
Was a sign posted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can we have the applicant come on down? Okay, Planning Department findings, Jane.
Sure. The applicant is proposing to create an 8 to 12 unit glamping site to provide for necessary commercial and recreational facilities conveniently located to housing, to encourage a more efficient use of land, public services, and facilities, to conserve the value of the land, to provide a procedure that can relate to type, design, and layout of commercial development to the site, therefore encouraging preservation of the site's natural and agricultural characteristics. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural and residential uses, along with U.S. forest land to the east and Weber Reservoir to the west and north, also part of the property. The access is off of Road 44, just before it turns into Forest Service Road 566. Let's see, this area is not serviced by any water company. The applicant has stated water will be hauled from the town of Mancos water dock and stored on site for distribution to guest facilities. It also needs to be noted that even though the applicant has been in contact with Mancos Town Administration, water is never guaranteed to anyone. And that goes for the entire Montezuma County. The Planning Department did receive a letter of opposition from Weber Reservoir Company, signed by all of the shareholders and concerned neighbors. The Wildfire Adaptive Partnership recommends a wildfire mitigation plan. If there are to be any structures or plans to build structures on the property, it's categorized as moderate fire risk. However, due to the low amount of forest fuels, if there are no structures planned to be built on the property, then they will not need to create a plan. And also, they will need to construct covenants and a business plan for this operation. And that would need to be recorded along with the plat. And I do have a letter of support from the town of Mancos, if you would like for me to read that into record.
Where do we go? Oh, the letter, sure. We can read that. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Was there an issue with sewage?
No, I don't believe so. The property currently has a septic permit, and any new septic system would be required to be designed by a licensed engineer and permitted with the county county public health department.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything to add to that?
No, sir, but I will answer any questions.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, questions?
Oh, are you wanting
sorry.
me to read this letter?
No.
No?
No, we're
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you Did you mention anything about CDOT? Did they?
CDOT had no issues because it's not directly accessed from
Okay,
any state highway.
okay. That was one of my questions. So I have a question about the water. So if in fact Mancos needs to restrict use of the water dock just because of drought conditions, what's the backup plan for water for your operation?
We would cease operations for however long that takes.
Okay,
Water's not a given, and we understand that.
okay.
Absolutely. And this isn't a life or death type, it's not a home. It's a campsite.
Really?
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I've got a few. So, on the first page of your narrative, you mentioned the project will preserve open space, strengthen rural tourism, and ensure the ranch's working legacy continues for future generations. Are you using the term open space in the way the land use code is using that term?
I'm not sure.
So in the land use code, there's the term open space and common open space, and
Okay.
as I remember it, that's what's that's a dedicated acreage for a subdivision in order to have a nice place for people to walk and ride their bikes and stuff. From then on, it's a permanent setup in a subdivision. I don't think that's what you're meaning when you say that, right?
So what we're trying to do is, because obviously this is in a larger parcel, and Rimrock Outfitters is already there, so I'm trying to kind of create, this is the businesses all in one.
Yes.
And kind of next to the border, or next to the Forest Service, right next to the road. The open space that I was talking about was kind of the rest of the property.
Yeah, so
But
it's not marked on the plat that this is dedicated open space. So I'm gonna assume that it's not being used.
It was not
in
my
this-
intention, correct.
Yeah, okay. And then, in regard to the utilities and permitting that in your narrative, for water supply, you mentioned where you plan to get it, but you don't mention how much you're gonna need.
So we don't know for a fact, but I can tell you based on anticipated usage would be roughly, depending on how many units, 100 gallons or 100 gallons a day per unit.
So 1,200,
Potentially, yes.
800 to 1,200.
800 to 1,200, yes, sir. And so our system will be 6,000 gallons. Once a week at least, that we'll be hauling.
Oh, per week?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Now
Correct.
I'm getting it. So, in the past, Commissioner Copenhaver, who lives in the Mancos area, when other permits have come before the Board of County Commissioners, the water has been an issue. And on parcels that don't have a dedicated water pipe to pull from and would be wanting to use the water dock. If I remember correctly, in those meetings where I was attending, basically, and maybe you can, Jason, you can confirm for me, the water dock usage is at a maximum, and they're not taking on any additional users for the water dock, as I understand it.
Well, I don't want to speak for the town of Mancos. I'm assuming you guys had conversations.
We did. We spoke with the town administrator. We spoke with the town's attorney.
Yes.
Basically, what the town attorney said is, we own a water tap personally. We can pull out that water tap if need be. That's where they left it at us.
Okay, so,
And I did submit that, but, rather than pull out of a water tap, we will pull out of, the water dock.
so
you-
in the permit, you include a threshold standard evaluation. And on the first page of that, number 12 is for water. And beside that, it says proof of availability and adequate flow. And you have not provided proof. So that's a concern for me. You've talked about where, and you just said that you talked to the
I actually submitted the email with this package from the attorney and through the town administrator, stating that they don't have a problem with me pulling water.
Is that proof of service?
I'm not sure if that is or not. And if it's not, what specific would make this proof of
To
service?
satisfy what that says on that page, proof of availability and adequate flow.
Okay.
So I'm imagining, when I read that, I'm imagining a letter from the town of Mancos saying that your business can pull water from the water dock at the amount required, which is what I think you said, 6,000 gallons per week.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, and that's what it would need to meet, not some fraction of that. It would be the maximum that you are thinking to have on need of. And it's not part of your, I don't see it here, but that's what I'm imagining I should see somewhere as proof.
Okay.
On the traffic summary, you describe what's going to happen on the glamping part of your property. Is there a residence on the property?
There is no residence on the property.
The other part of the property that you were using before, in the other part of the business, are those traffic numbers included in this traffic assessment?
They are not, because that's been an existing business for 30 years on the entire ranch. So they've used multiple portions of the ranch for their business over the past 30 years.
So I'm not understanding, when you say ranch, are you saying this parcel of land, or are you saying this parcel is part of a larger?
Correct.
Part of
This
a
parcel is
larger
portion.
Okay,
Lewis Ranch consists of 3 different parcels.
okay. And this is,
Individual parcels, correct. And 2001, 2002, when the county did self-zoning, Rimrock Outfitters included all 3 parcels in this for camping, horseback rides, chuck wagons, whatnot. And they have used multiple parcels, actually all 3 different parcels over the past 30 years for their business. And so I am not including, correct, I am not including their business in our traffic.
okay, and why not?
Because
It's a different business.
Yeah, but it's on the same property.
correct.
Utilizing the same
In other words,
I wasn't
when-
aware that I needed to include
Right.
that. We're happy to do so,
So,
but
yeah, so
yeah, it was only, I thought, for our business.
I understand.
Yeah.
I may be the only one that thinks this way, but my understanding is that when you apply for a permit, it applies to the entire parcel, not
Okay.
your entire ranch, the entire parcel that we're looking at,
Okay.
whatever that acreage is here.
So
Not
should-
a
So
fraction
was
of
the
it.
previous,
What?
was the previous zoning including those numbers for Rimrock Outfitters?
I don't know. I'm only looking at the permit that's in front of me tonight.
Would you, I believe we are going for a high-impact permit for specific, this reason for traffic, because obviously 8 is kind of right on the border, but once we go more units, then that is more than the 15 round trip.
Right, but the permit says 15. It doesn't say it's going to be exceeded. If I remember correctly, it says that we can count on 15, but it doesn't say it will be exceeded.
What's
So
the
there's
next
no
level?
mitigation needed.
What's the next level above 15 cars?
That's the only
What
number
would we
that's
have
in
to
the-
apply?
Yeah.
That's the only number that's in the land use code. It's a threshold
So,
limit.
so does the permit allow us to go over the threshold?
It does.
Okay, it does,
And
okay.
if you, if that can be mitigated, if that issue can be mitigated, but it doesn't need to be mitigated if you meet 15 or below.
It will be over if we're including both businesses.
So in my personal opinion, as I understand the land use code, you should be in this application, you should be including all the traffic for this parcel.
Okay, that was narrow on my part. I thought it was the company specific rather than two different companies, but absolutely. And so with that being in mind, we will definitely be over the 15 per day.
Yeah. So, and if you imagine the extreme of this is you could have this same piece of property with 4 different businesses on there and each one having 15 or less, but in total having.
I see exactly what
So,
you're saying.
Yes.
It's
So
one
do we
driveway.
need a bigger number? Is that what you're asking for?
I'm
Do
not
we need a
telling you
total?
what you should do. I'm telling you
Oh.
that what I see
Okay,
is a concern for me personally.
okay. So
Okay.
how can we
Well,
resolve that?
it's not done yet.
Okay,
The entire commission needs to vote on it. And if the rest of the commission feels that it's not an issue, you're going to be okay
okay.
from here. Now, the Board of County Commissioners may bring it up, but personally, this is an issue for me or a concern for me. Okay? Another thing that I'd like to point out, not to you, but to the commission, is that the type of PUD that's being applied for is a general PUD. And under the general PUD, the way the land use code is written, there's kind of a loophole because that was, as I understand from Commissioner Copenhagen, being able to do a general PUD on an agricultural zoned property was never intended to allow commercial businesses of this size. It was for small scale commercial operations. Otherwise, what you end up having is the example I gave, where you could have a large parcel and have 4 separate PUDs and all commercial or one or whatever. But it's a loophole that allows people, the applicants, to put a commercial operation in the middle of agriculturally zoned properties, which to me is a loophole.
Right, through the PUD, right, yeah.
And I know in the land use code, it says it's,
There's a conditional.
It's a conditional use and it is
Yeah,
permitted.
that's right. Yeah,
There is no definition of a level of small business or large
yeah.
business.
Yeah.
And as
I
far
agree
as your
with that.
traffic goes, you can amend this to say you would like to cover 35 cars or 40 cars.
Absolutely, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's, because you're applying for the high impact permit.
That's
You would
right.
just want to make sure that your traffic counts are
Yeah.
included in that plan and that discussion.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate that.
and by the way, sometimes I come across differently than what I intend. I really like this idea. I just, I can't ignore what my concerns are with the letter and intent of the land use code. That's all. I like your project.
Absolutely, I
I hope
understand.
it's successful, but these are some of the things that I'm dealing with. The other thing was the letter from the Weber Reservoir Group, which identified potential safety issues in
So
regard to.
Lewis Ranch is a member of Weber Reservoir. There's 7 members of Weber Reservoir. And we've been a member for forever.
Yeah,
And I completely understand about no swimming, no access. I mean, I've grown up there. We've never swam. I have 3 boys who grew up there. You don't go swimming. Up until this year, we didn't even have fish. The entire design is, the mountains are right there, the Forest Service is right there, the horseback is right there. This is a nice visual appeal that we're lucky to have, but we are adamant, it is not part of our project. Our project will be fenced simply because we have horses that are, roaming around, and so we want to keep the horses out. So we will have a fenced-in area. Everything will be focused more on the mountains, so east versus west. I realize how tempting it is. Yesterday, I specifically stopped 5 grandkids of a member from going swimming yesterday. I'm like, we don't have insurance. Lewis Ranch is very concerned about it because part of the lake is on Lewis Ranch. So not only would Weber Reservoir also be held accountable, but so would Lewis Ranch,
Yeah.
regardless whose water it is. So we're well aware of that, and we will do everything we can to keep, it's not part of it, to keep people away from it.
Yes. So that was one of the concerns raised by them. And I know there's a timeline of events and maybe something happened afterwards to cover that. But in the permit, there's nothing that says that you're installing a fence in order to mitigate that. I think that could help your case if you were able to work out something with them in regard to fencing that would keep the kids from going where they shouldn't go.
Well, I think the question would be, do they want fencing on the property line or for us to fence off our lake?
Yeah.
Fence off our water?
I don't know.
So I'm happy to put a fence on the property line, absolutely. You know, we have livestock that accesses the water. So from that standpoint, I don't see us putting a fence in the middle of the lake. I am happy to do so on,
obviously.
you know, the property lines.
Yes.
And post it. You know, we have, Weber Reservoir has signs. I understand signs are only so good for, a law keeps an honest man honest, a sign keeps an honest person honest.
Right.
We understand that. We've had poaching in there, we've had people, we will be diligent on everything. We can't guarantee that it won't happen, but we will do everything in our power to ensure that it doesn't, because it's not just our business, it's also Lewis Ranch that would take the hit versus the business. And
Sure.
so.
And I believe that's all I've got.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay, my turn.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I had kind of another
Okay.
safety question. You mentioned in your application that there's a secondary emergency road.
So there's numerous, we have one through the Forest Service, there's also a road coming through Weber Reservoir that was a long time access.
Okay, so it's that one that's.
Yeah, and then there's
to the
also,
west.
right next to the Corrals, there's a road coming out through the Forest Service. There to the right, right on the county Forest Service line, there's a road that goes into the Corrals.
Okay. Okay, that was it, yeah.
Okay, so you're proposing a maximum of 12 sites.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's tents, including the covered wagons.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we're opening with 8, and, you know, we're building the infrastructure for 12, but it's 3 years before we expand, and we've never done this, so we're not even sure that we'll make it that, but we are building the infrastructure for it, and we are obviously asking for the permit, but 12 is the
For
max.
12, max.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, my concern is emergency services, because you are a long way from Highway 160.
Yes, sir.
If there's a problem out there, it's gonna take Mancos a while to get there. So that's a real concern of mine. We had an application here 3 months ago, and that was a big concern for them, that we don't have the services that can get to you fast enough. So again, that's a real sore spot for me.
One of the things in our employee and staff training is we're all going to be CPR certified and first aid
Okay.
certified.
Yeah, that was my next question. Your number of employees that you intend to have on site, and would they be certified? So what's the number of employees you're talking about?
Currently, it's going to be family for the next couple of years. So
Just family?
Family, yes.
Okay.
And as we progress, we would like to hire 1 or 2, 3 people.
Okay.
And again, going back to everybody will be certified because just insurance purposes and things of that nature.
So once this opens up, if it does open up, then family's going to be certified in CPR and first aid?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And any employees when we have them.
okay. Also, there was a statement on weddings and parties that are going to be made available?
You know, I'm sure that that's a possibility. It's not something that we're really focusing on, but we're here. I would prefer to ask for permission versus, you know, come back and ask for forgiveness. And I'm sure somebody will call us and say, hey, can we do this? And, you know, we do plan on having other services down the road, but it's down the road. But yes, we are anticipating this. We are not actively marketing for anything like that, but we're here and we figured we might as well ask.
Okay. And you're gonna haul 6,000 gallons of water a week?
We're actually going to work with the company, Water on Wheels, or Well on Wheels. They're a Durango-based company. And we are working with the state of Colorado Public Health because we have a cistern, and so we have to be regulated.
Okay.
Have to deal with, the water hauler also has to be regulated. So rather than us haul it, we will have somebody else do it, and then we'll use their certifications for their tank from water dock to their tank to ours. I have to maintain our tanks. I have to do monthly inspections and then keep them for submittal if the public health department ever asks for them.
Okay, so you're gonna be subject to the health department?
That is my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's done, that's, okay.
Yeah, because they're gonna be redistributing it to the
Water,
public
okay.
from their cistern as opposed to a private residence.
Okay. So do you have any idea how many trips that water's gonna be taken to get up there for 6,000
I'm
gallons a
hoping
week?
to, so we have 3 different tanks basically, and we're doing that for kind of a fail-safe as well. But I'm hoping that we do it once a week rather than every 2 or 3 days. That's not efficient. So, all of our units are going to be low flow. I mean, we're going to do everything we can. We don't allow food in the units because we have a chuck wagon. That's kind of what we want. So you'll have a cooler. We will have coffee and tea inside the unit, but that's it. No refrigerator even. It's just.
So low flow sink, and we're actually kind of being crazy, and we're going to have a pole shower. So like a cowboy shower. So it will not be going continuously, and so we're hoping that cuts down on a lot of the water.
Good old military showers. Yeah.
Yes.
5 minutes left.
That's it. Okay. Okay, now, I will back up with Commissioner Lynch. My concern was that lake. You can post all the signs in your world, and you're gonna have somebody in that water. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen.
It is.
It will happen, right. And again, I'm looking at your liability, and I'm looking at our liability, because we're gonna maybe approve this. So are we overstepping by not trying to do everything we possibly can to keep people out? A fence is a great idea, because then you can post as many signs as you want. You can't swim here, and this is private property, do not enter, all that good stuff.
So we're approximately 400 to 500 feet away from the bank. Again, it's not part of it. I hear everything that you're saying. And all I can say is we will tell people, we will instruct people, we will be diligent on telling them signage, whatever we may need to do. That's all we can say. We can't say that we will never have somebody go in there. We don't allow dogs.
No,
So dogs are not going to be running in there. Primarily, we don't allow dogs because we have horses. So, but if somebody came with their dog, the dog's going to go swimming, people are going to go after their dog. So again, just little things to try and minimize that.
And also children, we have 3 children that we've raised here in Mancos, and we know that the lake is an attractive nuisance.
Very much so.
It is,
Very much
and so we've had to work with our children. Right. We've had to, help Rimrock Outfitters at times, and try. So we've had some experience with this over the years. The last thing we want is anybody to get hurt.
I'm sure you're good parents. Not all parents are fit those shoes. Yeah. So again, you hit the nail on the head. It's a nuisance, and it's attractive nuisance, and people are going to try to get out there. So that's really that's a big stickler for me, the safety and that water. Fencing would help. Fencing would help.
Is that something we can amend in our plan or in our application?
We can make it a
condition.
Make it a condition if it goes, to a vote and it gets approved, that'll be a condition, Okay. You have something else?
The other thing that I've seen is when the P&Z Commission recommend for approval and it goes before the county commissioners, sometimes what is presented to them has been enhanced after we've seen it. So I don't know the rules. Dawn can probably answer that definitively, but that's at least what I've seen in the past. So
I know part of this is educational for us, so thank you.
in the plats that are in our packet and that you've seen on the screen, I'm a little confused because you're mentioning that the water is more than 100 feet away from your lot line.
From where the campsites are going to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not, when I look at the plats that are in here and it shows that water up into your property.
Correct.
Is that a high water mark or is that?
And that is the high water mark. Typically, it's an irrigation lake. So in another month, it's going to be off our property.
Yeah, okay.
And so.
All right, thanks.
So then there will be water on your property at some point
Yes, sir.
where the campers are there,
So there's water still there
Okay.
now. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely there.
within the property, so, okay, so fencing
I mean, on a
in
good
that
year,
case is not gonna help
it
you
could
because
be
it's there.
Yeah, correct. On a good year, we will have water on our property year round.
Okay,
But
even tougher. Anything else? Okay, we're gonna open this up to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is, first off, thank you for letting me speak and express our concerns. I'm representing Weber Reservoir Company. My name is Tern Collier. My address is Mancos, Colorado, 9801 Road 42, Mancos. I do have a ranch up near Weber Reservoir as well.
There you go.
There we go, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. You want me to start over?
No, it's good.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I'd submitted the petition and letter of opposition that I think you guys have. So, we've been discussing with our shareholders, and that grew into concerned neighbors as well. As you can see, we have quite a few signatures. Didn't even know we had that many people up the road there. But our main concern is liability. You know, the liability for Weber Reservoir Company. Weber Reservoir Company was originally built back in 1904 and then expanded later for a water storage company, for water storage facility for irrigation and farm use only. We've never had people doing any recreational activity. So we don't have insurance, and we are working on getting insurance, but at this stage of the game, it's difficult to get insurance on something that's not been insured. We've never needed it, we thought, because we don't let people on that property. And as you can see, the Lewis Ranch property encroaches onto the water of Weber Reservoir. Like you say, on a good year, it could be, for several months into the summer. So our concerns are, were someone to be injured or, God forbid, have a fatality, drown, the owners of Weber Reservoir Company could be personally liable for litigation from that injury or death. And so we're strongly concerned about that. And number two, we just don't want to see anybody getting hurt, because it's just not set up as a recreational reservoir, nor do we have plans for that. It's an irrigation reservoir and water storage only, and maybe some pasture. Yeah, and so I'm a little confused. Last week when we talked to Mr. Lewis, he said there's no plans for a fence. We said, that would help, that would be good. He said, no, Colorado's a fence out state. And he said, I'm gonna put up signs. And as we know, as you just found out yesterday, there was a group of teenagers or 20-year-olds that should have known better, of a shareholder who should have known better, and he didn't know they were going, but they did. They tried to go in and go get in the lake. And thank you, Donnie, for putting a stop to that. So yeah, it is. It's just a matter of time. That's a good case in point of what happens. So again, Weber Reservoir has never been used for campers, visitors, sightseers. So some other concerns we have, just looking at the application here. We don't think that 15 vehicle trips, round trips per day is realistic. You know, if you're thinking about the maximum of 12 campsites and staff.
Okay, time. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Carrie Summers, and I live at 38790 Road K4 in Mancos, and I'm the broker owner of Colorado Ranch and Home Realty, and I'm also a property owner. Property manager. Super tough. I know Perry and Lynn, Perry Jr.'s parents. I've known them forever. I'm the property manager of a property that to the west of this, which is 12677 Cody Eubanks property. And so it's, the lake is here. The property is coming up Echo Basin. There's a sharp 90-degree turn there, and the property that I manage there. And so the lake is right to the north of that. This spring, we had an emergency at the property, and it took 30 minutes for Mancos to get up there. Not a good deal. My other big concern is, yes, the lake is a big, people want to go to the lake, but what about dogs? Loose dogs create problems. And, there's livestock around there. So the Eubanks brother lives right across from the proposed site, Bobby, and this is a quiet neighborhood. These families have been up there forever, and I just don't think that a high impact with multiple cars going up and down a very steep and dangerous narrow road that's blind. It's not just you can see for miles going up one Road 44. So I'd ask you to just think about all the safety of all the different neighbors that use Road 44. And, and it is, we have, that's the access to the forest. So of course we have more people in the summer going up there, which is wonderful. And I mean, I know Perry and Victoria very well. They're my neighbors where I live, off of K4. I think the world of them. But my clients, the Eubanks, asked me to come here to bring up these concerns. So thank you.
Thank you. Next. Anyone else?
I was asked to read a statement from one of the other adjoining property owners.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. We could accept that.
Yeah.
If you want to give it to us, we'll accept it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then we're going to close the public comments and bring it back to the commissioners. Again, I'm just going to reiterate that, my concern is the lake and the safety for people that, God forbid, get injured up there. It's just a long way from Mancos, and you're having functions possibly. And that's my concerns.
I think there's risk associated with any outdoor activity.
Say again?
I said I think there's risk associated with any
Oh, sure.
outdoor activity, and because our responsibility is making sure that the EMS services have been notified.
Yeah.
People make choices on where they recreate. I feel that I just want to bring that up.
Okay.
As long as emergency services are notified and have it come to us saying they have a problem with it, I think that's important for us to acknowledge. It'd be very different if Mancos Fire said hard no, because the last one that you brought up,
Mm-hmm.
they mentioned that they hadn't talked to them, which was really problematic.
Right.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I agree with the concerns around the water that Commissioner Lynch brought up, and I think it'd be good as a condition to require something a little more, substantial from the town of Mancos or the attorney about that predicted water usage.
Just to interject, if they're using a public-private water company, they can access water from any Montezuma water dock. If you're pulling 6,000 gallons in a 10,000 gallon trunk, you're probably not going to Mancos water dock.
Fair enough.
And that means Cortez.
Most of it come from Durango.
Or
That's
Durango?
where the company's based out of.
Okay. Oh, they probably pull out of Durango.
Yeah,
Okay.
the big,
Yeah, 'cause
the
you're gonna
big
be-
commercial trucks, they
you're
don't
gonna
go
be-
to the
yeah.
private
Yeah.
water
You're
docks.
gonna be holding
That's
a
a
lot
good
of people
point.
up.
Well, I can make a motion
Okay.
to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed general plan unit development application, high impact and special use permit submitted by Lewis Ranches LLC, Agent Rimrock Outfitters Glamping, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. I don't have a specific condition, but I'll let you all chime in.
But I think Commissioner Lynch had it. Condition.
I can't vote for it, so there's no condition.
You had a condition?
Well, there's a couple things that came up, so we can check in on these things. So one was amending the traffic in the high impact permit
Okay.
to reflect the multiple business activities that are on there, for the commissioners to review. I know you guys don't want to add the safety fencing that we've been talking about, but we should consider.
We're open to, being good neighbors, absolutely.
Okay.
So if we need a fence, I would like to start with the fence on the property boundaries versus putting a fence directly across the water.
Oh, yeah. No, that's-
But
Sure.
absolutely, we'll put one up on the property boundaries.
Okay.
And we will be going ahead with the fencing around our entire encampment.
Again, the problem with the fencing though is the water's gonna go on the other side of the fencing.
Sure, and I
So-
understand that.
Right, we're trying to make sure the horses don't go in as well.
Okay.
That's another purpose of our fence.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, that's the fencing, and then the traffic was my only
Okay.
thing. So if there's a second, we'll,
I'll second.
okay. Okay, no further discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Nay.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Armstrong,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Nay.
What we talked about done happened.
So, under Robert's Rules of Order, it requires a majority. And since there's no majority, it fails.
It fails.
There's no need to revote or talk about voting or whatever. It had no majority, so it failed.
So the only thing, then it's, like I said, it's done as far as we're concerned.
So it goes on to the
P&Z
county commissioners?
Yeah, now it goes to your next move is up there, but yeah, we have come to an impasse. if you
Sure, I
will.
understand.
And there's a process for that, so that would be the next step.
Okay. Thank you.
So the motion failed. No majority. Okay, thank you much.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time.
Okay, takes care of that and that.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not done yet. Oh, fair enough.
Okay, other items.
Roll call first.
Roll call first, sorry.
Commissioner Hernandez, Commissioner Saunders?
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong?
Here.
Commissioner Lynch?
Here.
Still.
Discussion item would be the spec section of the land use code concerning alternate energy, specifically relating to solar, but not strictly limited to solar.
Right, because you can have wind. This would still fall under the wind, right?
Yeah, you can have wind, water, sun,
Hydro? Well, solar would be sun, what?
nuclear.
Nuclear.
I'm so sorry, but I have to go. So I'm going to excuse
Okay.
myself from the conversation. But I trust you to come up with something good.
Okay, thanks.
Jason, did you have a proposed date for a public meeting?
No, but I think that was the one thing I wanted to see if we could try to set some time aside to do that. I'm not sure the best way to schedule with everybody here, but I feel like we need to just have an open comment with the community and just get their take on,
On the
Solar.
the ag volta?
yeah,
Okay.
on the solar,
On
just
solar.
generally, and just get a better sense of what everybody thinks in the community
What
about
thinks
it.
out.
So, I
Okay.
mean, we're on the clock.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, the.
I'm out the month of August. If you need me, I will not be
Okay.
here. But September, yeah, I'm having surgery, so
Okay.
Okay.
just planning not to be
Yeah,
available.
yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Okay.
see you, Haley.
Thanks, guys.
I don't have an exact date proposed. I feel like we've tried to do this before, and
It was already in July, so.
I know
August.
Commissioner Lynch has some other obligations, like for school board and things like that, so obviously let's keep that in mind. What are the days that you absolutely can't do it?
Tuesday nights are bad.
Okay,
Um,
it'll be bad for me too. I have public meetings for.
Monday nights are bad.
Okay,
I can try and work with pretty much anything else. Are you talking about day or night?
probably after hours, after business hours, just to make sure, I feel like that's most accessible.
Yeah.
So it's after 5 you're talking?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
How about you? You have a-
Fridays, absolutely not.
Okay,
Wednesday's my other, but I can work around Wednesday.
okay.
It's gonna be a Wednesday.
Just let me know so that I can post it, I have to do a public notice.
Right.
When you,
guys meet, I have to do a public notice.
so, I mean, I'd like to have Commissioner Saunders be part of the conversation, but
Mhm. Well, if she's
we're
gone-
only at the end of July,
Yeah,
basically.
end of July. Well,
So-
middle of July anyway, so.
So we
what do
may
got,
need to
two
just
more-
move
two
forward
more
without
Thursdays?
her.
How much time do you need for
And
public notice?
it does not have to be a 30-day public notice.
No, it just needs to be, what, a week, about a week?
We could do a week.
Why don't we do one in
Week or
July?
10 days.
You could do the 24th of July.
Okay,
Or-
my birthday.
I'm good
That
with
sounds
that.
awesome.
That's a Thursday,
Yep.
okay? Here,
So
July
how long does that
24th.
give me to get it in?
What do you guys think, like
Over a week.
5 to,
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks.
5 to,
Because the newspaper only comes out once a week, and I'm on a time crunch, because they told me I can only submit public notices at a certain time to get it into newspapers, so, so you said
can we make the 24th
Let me see
to
here.
give you enough time?
I'd have to get it in newspaper on the 16th,
Oh, okay,
so that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do it.
okay. Now, we just need to figure out time.
what do you guys think, like,
What's the normal person get off work? I'm retired, so I don't have to worry
yeah,
about it.
well,
You wanna do it at 6 o'clock?
does that feel okay?
Okay,
6,
okay with me?
okay.
And this is a public hearing or a commissioner,
Public meeting?
Just a public
Public
meeting.
meeting,
yeah, not a hearing, a public meting.
Public information meeting?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For public input on solar. yeah.
I guess the yeah, input, I think, is what we're looking for.
Correct.
It'd be great if we could get some industry people to come talk, but I'm not sure how that works in terms of setting that up and,
The only feedback I've had, most of them all seen Mesa County's spec section, which is the basis for our spec section, and they are all comfortable with it, fine with it.
okay. I mean, it feels like we're asking the community to comment on something.
Correct.
And what are we providing them to comment on, you know? Or is it just,
Well, they know, well, or should know, or maybe they don't, about the moratorium that the commissioners have, placed on
right,
solar, so that's gonna get lifted. The
Yep.
moratorium's gonna get lifted. We need your input to help us put something together in the land use code.
okay?
Could, I'm just
Yeah,
kind of
throw it out
spitballing
there,
here,
yeah.
but,
That's what I just did.
Be the-
we had a case, the Juby case, and that was voted on. You could use potentially that as an example and say, what was it about that you think could have been done in order to make that pass? What would have had to happen in order to make you okay with that passing? What steps would have needed to take place? What size does it need to be limited? I
Yeah.
don't know, but
Yeah.
we could,
Yeah.
that's an example of one.
I like that. Having
didn't
something
pass.
for them to like, put it in context.
And there were quite a few people here that might show up again, so.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to frame that.
Especially if you ask for input, and those people came here to object, then now I want to come and give you my
Yeah,
input.
so we need to turn it around, so this isn't an objection meeting.
Right.
This is what would you like to see in the land use
There you
code
Yeah,
to make this a possibility in our county?
yeah. What are your major concerns that need to be mitigated?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your concerns? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. Got it, Jane?
I think. I'll try.
6 o'clock to a definitive time frame or just open-ended?
Yeah.
It could
I
get
mean,
lengthy.
If we're gonna invite people in to make comment, I don't wanna cut them off
Oh, no, well, yeah,
arbitrarily, yeah.
you figure you're gonna be here at least,
We're gonna give everybody 3 minutes, right?
there you go, we could do that, or, yeah. Yeah, because you're gonna have to have some organization to it.
We're gonna
Yeah,
have to,
Yeah,
yeah.
come speak, got 3 minutes, give us your
It'll be no
opinions.
different than
Yeah.
no different than a public meeting.
Did a public
right
meeting,
now.
yeah, that's good.
Okay,
And as in a public meeting, you can, if there's too many people, you can limit the
Come, bring it down.
We can
time,
just
yeah,
kinda
after
say
30
that.
minutes, if it looks like it's gonna be all night, you can say, sorry, please, 2 minutes and
Yeah,
yeah,
only new comments or whatever.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to manage it as best we can.
I don't think you're gonna get that volume.
I don't either.
I
No.
think you'd be lucky to get 15 people here.
Yeah,
Yeah, be lucky, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna pack the room.
No,
Because you're not here to object to something, you're here to give information too.
right.
yeah. Okay,
Okay?
let's
so
try it.
That's a good plan.
Okay.
What else, Don? Where I let you go?
There is a new law out, I don't know, every week there's a new law or something, I can't and don't try and keep up, that Colorado passed concerning EV charging stations. They gave counties till December to select one of 3 options. Options 1 and 2 have something to do with the regulations that they've come up with. Option 3 is to opt out and not change our land use code. A primary charging facility would fall under a public utility, which would be covered by a high impact permit, special use permit as it stands under our land use code. I don't know with what's, Cortez has 6 new ones. I don't see anybody putting a major one out in the county. You don't have the power, you don't have
Yeah. Is
much
there-
infrastructure there, so my recommendation, was that we just opt out.
Okay.
There's gonna be a workshop on the 28th of July with the commissioners.
With the commissioners?
Okay,
It'll be at their 1:30 workshop. if you guys have
Yeah.
something. It's just,
And like you said, you know, to have a specific charging station. And again, I'm thinking of the use. People around here that have electric vehicles are gonna charge at home. Okay, so you're looking at the transient that's passing through. So he's charging, if you're going south, he's charging in Gallup. If you're going west, he's charging in Flagstaff.
well, my idea is if you're charging, you're not gonna be parked out in the middle of nowhere in the county, sitting in your car.
Well, that's.
You're gonna be in town going to
I mean,
eat or
the
going
idea-
to shop and
That's
get
right.
groceries or,
Yeah, that's what
And
the
I think what's
municipalities
gonna
want
happen
you
is
to
you're
do.
gonna get the Loves, you're gonna get the Mavericks, the big stations, they're gonna put them in,
which makes
which
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you could possibly have one at a big RV park, but
Yeah.
that,
But again,
that's more synonymous
that
with
would-
them than a standalone one out in the middle of something.
Yeah, that's gonna be nothing we have to deal with.
Yeah, I
They're
don't,
just gonna, they'll do it themselves.
I don't
Is
think
there any,
areola
like-
is gonna be a hot spot.
Is there anything in the legislation that's like kind of like a incentive for counties to opt in? You
I,
know what I mean, like access to grant funding and things like
I
that.
They didn't mention that.
don't know.
You
Like
know
I
what
said,
I
I
mean.
didn't read through the opting in options.
Yeah,
Because
that's fine.
I didn't see anything.
every time we opt,
Yeah.
if you opt into something and we start adopting regulations, now their plan is, if you have adopted this, now this new law makes you do this. They just keep dragging it on and leapfrogging. And per Travis this week, Colorado is now the 6th most regulated state in the United States.
Really?
Yes,
Not
So
surprised.
that's,
it's sad.
time to move.
So
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's, I'm with you. I mean,
I would be happy at 46th, and anything be above that, it's not a good direction.
Yeah.
No,
46 is a good number. That's a good number.
but having, being number 6
6.
in the nation,
That's because Polis and Newsom are buddies. They're buddies.
We're still
That's why
live,
I got out
John.
of California.
John, we're still live.
we're still, yeah, let's,
That's why I got out of California.
okay.
So anyway, that workshop will be 1:30 the afternoon of July 28th.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Second.
Is that what he said?
Time.
What? I heard him say second.
Oh, no, he's the second. That could take a second.
Who first
Seven,
said it? Armstrong?
7:47.
Yes, I did. Motion
Yep.
to adjourn,
7:47.
7:47.
47.
All right.
Okay.